Hey everybody, Christopher Green, AMTV, Alternative Media Television, of course, BitcoinRich.com, and we're doing a simulcast right now on the Clubhouse app, which is only available on iOS as well as on YouTube right now, so I'll probably cut this up on YouTube. It's my first time doing a Clubhouse room, and if you don't know what Clubhouse is, again, it's only on iOS. It's not a paid advertisement. I just think it's a really, really cool app. You download it and you basically enter a room. I've got a few individuals in right now. Make sure to follow me there. And I want to do daily chats where we basically talk about money, success, opportunities, mindset, crypto, Bitcoin, starting businesses, all the things that I personally care about, and I believe all of you also care about tuning in. And you can also join with other speakers. So it's really, really cool. You can follow me at AMTV Media. So who am I? For those of you that probably don't know who I am, I've been doing social media for 12 years. I started a YouTube channel a long, long time ago. Started on Facebook, started on Twitter. I really believed that it was going to be a disruptive technology, and it was something that I had a passion for and a drive for. So I basically started making YouTube videos, since grew the platform and my e-commerce businesses to about 1 million plus followers around the world. I'm also the founder and creator of BitcoinRich.com, which is the largest crypto academy in the world. We have over 30,000+ students. It's growing every single day. And I've had the privilege to travel a little bit around the world. I've spoken on stages in places like Los Angeles with Steve Wozniak, co-founder of Apple Computers in the early blockchain days. That's not an endorsement, but these are the people I've been exposed to. People at Pantera Capital, hedge fund managers. Also, I've spoken on stages and headlined Block Show Singapore a couple years back before we had the pandemic and everything that's happening now. I've interviewed guests like Steve Forbes, which was a privilege, and I learned a ton from him. I've met other people like Eric Schmidt, who is one of the principals and still has some influence with Google today. I've met and interviewed people like Jim Rogers, where we've discussed gold and silver, blockchain technology, etc. So I've really been privileged to have a unique perspective on not just world events, but money and technology. Also, my background, I went to George Washington University on a water polo scholarship. I was a Division I All-American, and it was a great time playing water polo there. That was my first introduction to how cool Washington, D.C. was, and was also my first exposure to broadcasting. Of course, Crossfire is held in Washington, D.C., and some people don't know this, but when I was in high school, I was the most likely to be a broadcaster and somebody on television. Also graduated top of my class from Arizona State University, the business school, and I got my degree in finance. I got my first internship at Merrill Lynch without a college degree by cold calling into the Beverly Hills office as a part of a wealth management team. That's where I got and I learned a lot of my marketing skills, how to get people's attention, how to shoot for the top, how to have big goals. I learned that most people, for example, aren't even trying, and they're not calling on the companies and the big opportunities because they just don't think it's accessible. But the truth is, the bigger you think, the more accessibility there is because there's no competition. I then went on after college. I was a top earner at Merrill Lynch, and I was hired as a top producer in about 2008 and 2009. Of course, we had the financial crash and fallout during that period. I was also becoming very, very interested in social media, in marketing online at the time, and so I basically pivoted into that because I've never had a corporate mindset. I'm not somebody who really fits well into a box. I'm too much of a creative thinker. I enjoy entrepreneurship. I consider myself a big risk taker. Things and skill sets that I learned in sports. I'm big on repetition and discipline. I really believe that most people just don't want to or don't have a roadmap necessary to put in the work to build their success. Whether or not this is in personal relationships, their faith with God, or it is money and small business. So those are my primary motivators. That's a little bit of my resume and background for those of you who don't know me. And of course, you can learn a lot more at our world-class academy and school, BitcoinRich.com. But I want to use and welcome everybody to the room here on Clubhouse today, and welcome on YouTube as well. The whole world is changing so much, so dramatically. I want to take you guys on a journey to some next level type stuff, right? So that you're focused on where things are headed, what the new trends are, and we're moving with the times, so to speak, technologically. This is something that I'm doing right now, right? I truly believe that in order to be successful in this new normal, you're going to have to innovate, you're going to have to be a little bit more of a chameleon, and you're going to have to be adaptable. Now, for the first time in history, ladies and gentlemen, for everyone tuning in, I see Brian just joined as well. What's up, Brian? For those of you tuning in, this is the first time in world history that all of you tuning in, have the opportunity to basically build your empires just with a cell phone. I've been able to do that. Now, I don't know everything, but the areas that I'm really good at are technology, marketing, social media, e-commerce, crypto, blockchain tech. I've been an investor and somebody in the space for a very long time, and I've done well enough that I believe to be one of the top authorities in the space. But as a result of everything that's been going on in the past few months, I mean, look how crazy 2020 has been, 2021, it is and should be obvious to you that we're in a very disruptive time. And so you're going to have to be looking at new opportunities for jobs and careers and for creating cash flow. For example, you should always invest your earned income, right? The income that you earn from a job or your side hustle. The earned income you should use and invest that into things that actually produce cash flow. I'm not the only person to say that. You shouldn't be buying fancy things, fancy cars, fancy watches, fancy houses for personal use until you've actually created passive income. So you should be investing your earned income, whether or not this is in cryptocurrency, blockchain, or Bitcoin, which we're going to get into some specific of opportunities today, or it's real estate. Now, I also humbly believe things are very long in the tooth in certain segments and areas of the economy. I think the stock market, although because of the inflationary pressures probably will go higher long term, which has been the course of human events since we can remember, is due for a pullback and correction. Keep in mind, I lived through the 2008-09 financial crash. I was managing a lot of particular investments during that time. And I am well aware, as many of you are, that we can have dumps of 50, 60, 80, 90%. I've seen it happen before. So as I was arguing yesterday on YouTube, although I believe Tesla is a great company, it's going to continue to change the world. It'll probably go up another 1,000% from here, even though it's up 600 to 700% so far over the last year. That does not mean we can't have market crashes. For example, I remember picking up Apple stock under $100 in 2008-09. I remember buying Bank of America, BAC, at $3. Okay? I remember other investments like Washington Mutual going to zero. Okay? So, prices can crash. I remember the real estate market in Phoenix, Arizona, basically dumping 60% in some cases, depending on where the homes were located during the heart of the financial crisis and the systemic event with the big banks, all the bailouts, TARP, etc., which really has largely continued to this day. So not much has changed. What it has done, though, however, is democratize an opportunity for all of you to be majorly successful. And my mission statement this year in 2021, as I take you guys along in this amazing journey along for the ride, and I'm going to do a lot more lifestyle stuff as I've moved my primary residence here to beautiful Maui, Hawaii, is to do just that, to improve your life, to identify market trends, and to show you what I'm actually doing within the startup culture of my businesses, how I'm pivoting and prospering myself, and then translating this into a very real and practical way that you can build upon this for your own success. I truly believe this is why BitcoinRich.com is so popular. I believe it's why it's been so successful, is because it's a blueprint for that. And that's just one subset and micro niche of business and life, but it's something that I've bet majorly on. I've made two major investments and bets in my life. One has been in social media and on e-commerce, and the second one has been Bitcoin and blockchain, which is playing out today. I'm also a family man too. I'm married with kids, so don't give me any excuses for you fathers out there, your mothers out there, your single fathers, you're single mothers, I understand that. I have 3 beautiful children of my own. They're all young and amazing, and I'm teaching them the same skill sets every single day that I'm broadcasting at my schools privately and also publicly. So I'm also a father, and as a byproduct of that, I want the world to be a better place for them. And so I'm constantly looking for ways to improve myself, set a positive tone in the world, and improve people's lives. I'm also a Christian too, and I don't hide that. I'm not perfect. I'm definitely a sinner, probably like many of you tuning in, but Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior, and I know that I wouldn't be here today or have had any of the success that I've had without Him and His blessing. So I hope to pay that forward to all of you. Hey Renzo, what is up? I see you just joined the chat as well. So let's get into some news, some general information like on blockchain, Bitcoin, and crypto. I'm seeing very, very bullish events moving forward. And we've been talking for some time at school that we'd be getting a lot more regulatory clarity very, very soon, which is what we've had. So let's go over specific markers of events that have sent the market to new highs, sent Bitcoin 10x since March of last year when I first touched down here in Maui with my good friend Alex, who you listened to yesterday on YouTube, who tripled his income in 2020. So Alex and I work together. He's a part of all my amazing businesses, but he's been able to start his own businesses and triple his income using the skills in the blueprint and the roadmap at school. So he's just one example of tens of thousands of students that have applied the same knowledge in a very real way. I'm also working on some really exciting projects here in Maui, Hawaii. Long term, I'll be releasing a new blockchain called ISIL, which is the islandproject.org, which is a real estate development that I'll be building with investors, my own money, and some friends and family to get started, and then we'll be releasing publicly on a worldwide blockchain, which is going to be a very, very interesting merger of this radical new technology in the real world. I heard someone kind of cynically say, "Oh, I get it, Christopher. It's just like a timeshare opportunity." No. Look, cynics, being a cynic won't get you anywhere in life. This is going to be the most amazing, radical, sustainable project development you've ever seen. We're going to have anchor residential real estate homes, luxury homes on property, much like the ones I'm staying at here right now. It's going to be built on solar and infrastructure that you can actually monetize on the blockchain and earn ISIL tokens. It will be fractionalized and will use nano payments, so you'll be able to participate in various parts of the community and our microeconomy using nano technology, basically. And also will bring upon it into new light different funding mechanisms and different ways to Buidl, which is an intentional misspelling that I came up with, which I've heard other people talk about before. It's kind of like HODL in the cryptocurrency space, but means Buidl, to Buidl it, and they will come. Because one of my favorite movies is Field of Dreams, and I believe that if you have a vision and you build it, you Buidl it, and you stick with it, people will come and they'll gravitate to success. So, there's that law of attraction you've probably heard of, and I believe much more in faith and purpose in those kinds of things, but there's truth to those statements as well. Success follows you. Money is attracted to success. Other successful people are attracted to successful people. It's why, for example, that a few real estate agents dominate, certain segments of the real estate community, or it's why certain people in the investment world basically have all the business. Or if you look at Amazon and Jeff Bezos, or you look at Elon Musk and his companies, while they pick up more market share and basically control 99% of the market, people are attracted to successful people. And so that's also something to keep in mind in your own business and in life. So let's specifically talk about what's going on in the cryptocurrency blockchain space today, which I still believe is an extremely early opportunity and will be bigger than social media e-commerce combined. So we've had more regulatory clarity brought upon the market. Today, Christine Lagarde, head of the International Monetary Fund, also working in partnership with the World Bank and technologies and blockchains like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and also XRP, which has provided more regulatory clarity, recently came out with some words today that said that she believes Bitcoin should be regulated on the global stage. And we've seen some backlash over this. People go, oh my gosh, I can't believe that they're going to regulate, or how can they do that? You can't regulate something that's decentralized. But this is a part of the new system. And so we need to understand that you need to understand that there's been a merger between private side, technological growth, okay, the incubators of the startup culture and technology that makes up blockchain and that makes up the shadowy figure that is Satoshi Nakamoto, in coordination with regulators, with central banks, with big banks, with payment systems, networks, and all these kinds of things. KYC, AML, all those things. So this is actually a signal, in my view, for the entire marketplace and to my students, which we go over a lot of detail at school, regarding all this. This is a very bullish setup. The more regulatory clarity that we have, the more there's a roadmap for the on-ramping. I call it the red carpet rollout in 2021, the blackjack hand. That's why prices have been sent higher, in my view. And many of my students have done extraordinarily well this year and over the years, is because this is all mainstreaming and mainlining now. So for cynics out there, people with critical questions, which I encourage, you should ask any of those in the comments section. I'd be happy to respond even after this broadcast. This isn't counter to the new system. This is the new system. Okay, but you need to understand there's an organic side to this where all of these blockchains, the survivors at least, will be working directly in coordination with these systems, with these providers, with central banks, with the World Bank, and with the IMF. Now, why do regulators and people like Christine Lagarde and institutions need to private side, so to speak, this tech? Because they can't develop it all on their own. Just like Google, for example, came from the brainchild of Sergey Brin and Larry Page, and just like Facebook came from the brainchild of Mark Zuckerberg and the Winklevoss twins, which are now Bitcoin billionaires, and just like Elon Musk is the brainchild of not just PayPal, but now SpaceX and Tesla and Solar City and all of these companies. This is just the on-ramping of the new tech. And the regulation comes and merges with the private side as we move forward into a more mainlined, mainstream epic, is what I will call it. So that's something else that we all need to think about here, is that this is a new epic in humanity, right? Think about how technology has changed our lives, not just the very foundation of what money is, because money is just an idea. It's something that is fungible, that should be a store of value, which is what's so unique about Bitcoin and blockchain and various cryptocurrencies technologies. It should be instantaneous. It should be able to be sent anywhere in the world. You know, one thing that people don't realize is that most of the world actually is unbanked. Okay, so parts of sub-Saharan Africa, certain countries around the world don't have access to funding, lending. They can't take out loans. They can't start small businesses. They don't even have basic banking services. And without those services, this is why blockchain is also so fundamentally important for the second and third world, and is empowering people around the world, no matter your race or your color of your skin, or your religion or your political affiliation or any of those things, is because it's allowing and on-ramping people to have access, equal access to these kinds of things. So this is what's really exciting about the tech. You can take it from me personally, although I am blessed and have had certain privileges in my own life. You don't need any privileges to be involved, to be massively successful in today's world and environment. If I can do it, you can do it. And, you know, when I started, just a little backstory, I was completely broke in 2008-09. I actually lost my home. I've not really talked about that publicly much, but in 2008-09, I lost my home. I put down a 20% down payment right when I got out of college for about like $100,000. My grandfather had left me a little money. That was all of it when he passed. And I used that to buy my first home. And a couple months later, the price of my home collapsed like 60%. And not only did I lose all my initial investment of the 20% down payment, but I was underwater like an additional $100,000. So I ended up staying in the home for a while and doing what I needed to do to keep the roof over my head. But that's actually when I started all of my businesses online. And I use that as a learning experience and an opportunity to basically take myself from a moment in time, which was, could be viewed as depressing or like, you're in this hard time. I actually view is what gave me kind of the inspiration to learn how to empower myself, build upon myself, and then eventually make money. Personally, I didn't learn how to make money from someone giving me money. You hear about, you give a man a fish, he eats for a day, but you teach him how to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime, and then he'll teach other men and women how to fish. I only learned honestly how to create revenue, to grow my businesses, to grow an audience, and to have that hunger and desire until I was broke. Okay, and I had to learn how money worked. Right, so you're really not that successful in my view until the money that you have invested is working for you. Okay, another reason why I don't believe that you should spend your earned income on toys, houses, cars, fancy watches, and those kinds of things until you have passive income that is cash flowing that will pay for those items. So when you're getting started, you want to take your extra revenue not just to like pay off debt and those kinds of things, although there's ways and strategies to use debt to buy valued assets, which you can do, and we also teach about at school. But you basically want to be investing all of your resources in after-tax earned income dollars, or using methods of depreciation and tax write-offs and these kinds of things to invest into what will grow cash flow and what you've probably heard of as passive income. So that's also very, very important. So today is January 13th, 2021. And again, going back to the regulatory side of things in the cryptocurrency market, this is very, very bullish. Let me give you some specifics of things that have happened even in recent months that to me were tells, okay, which made me more aggressive as I continue my dollar cost average plan into the cryptocurrency space, and have been doing that for years, that made me more bullish on the market and were tells to me. One was, you remember that BitMEX was moved by regulators not too long ago, last year. I used that as a tell. I used various other market events, some I'll save for school, so maybe I won't give all of them away here today, but I used all of these as tells that told me, like playing chess or something, that, okay, this is what's going to happen next. Now, Christine Lagarde coming out today and mentioning, more regulatory framework for Bitcoin specifically. And this will also target Ethereum, just like XRP has been in the crosshairs recently. Litecoin, which is basically the silver equivalent of Bitcoin's gold. I've met Charlie Lee, by the way. He's a really gracious, cool dude. Met him in Las Vegas a couple of years ago. Also met Charlie Shrem. I've interviewed him before. I remember he gave me some really good advice a few years back when we were in the previous bear market. And he said, Christopher, now's the time to biddle. He didn't say biddle, but he said, now's the time to build. He says, now's the time to invest in yourself, your businesses, and these blockchain projects, and then learn everything you can. And that proved to be probably the most astute and prudent advice and inspiration. I've also met with Brock Pierce as well. He's over in Puerto Rico now, which hopefully will be able to pay a visit in the near future if travel restrictions provide us the ability to go out and do that. So let's go over a little bit of just like market recap today as well. And then I might try to bring some of you guys in to speak here in the Clubhouse app. But I'm learning this app kind of live on the fly, guys. So don't blame me if I don't really know how to moderate this stuff yet. I'll have my crew, as we continue to do these broadcasts, set up more moderation in the future. But, our market cap is about near $1 trillion total crypto today at $978 billion with a 24-hour volume of 130 billion. Of course, we've made an aggressive move since the March lows, since Bitcoin was at 3,500. We have since gone up near 10x. Bitcoin, which is really just a marker for the market. This is what people need to understand. It's not the only blockchain. Okay, there's all kinds of business opportunities and tech and other alternatives that you need to learn about, mostly which what we're teaching about our school, not just the principal technologies that everyone's heard of, which is just like the Apple equivalent or the Microsoft equivalent or the Google equivalent, which is Bitcoin. Everybody knows it. It's got the brand name, it's got the marketing name, and it's the largest market cap at $673 billion, which is nuts, which is bigger than Wall Street banks. It's bigger than JP Morgan Chase. It's bigger than Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway. So this stuff is not going away. And as I was joking a few days ago, anyone that says or has said in the past that Bitcoin is a scam, realize that they scammed themselves. Because obviously this is now a tradable asset on Wall Street. It's a tradable asset on futures exchanges. There are index funds and ETFs that have been coming to market. One of them is Bitwise, which I believe you may need to be an accredited investor, meaning you have $1 million+ or more to invest. I'm not sure. I'd have to take a close look at that. But we're seeing this mainline and mainstream in a very significant way with traditional finance. Now, of course, blockchain technology will tokenize the entire stock market. It will eventually tokenize real estate, like my project, the Island Project, which is basically just a micro niche passion project that I want to build. That will be hopefully replicated worldwide upon our almost kind of like Seastead type model, if you're familiar with that. Some of you have probably studied other projects before, like Zeitgeist, or I'm trying to think of some others that I have a little bit less knowledge of. But there's a lot of exciting opportunities to basically build an entirely different world that maybe you've not thought of before. Again, just to motivate all of you tuning in, I mean, this is the first time in your life where all you need is a cell phone to be successful, and you can build your own personal empire from your bedroom. A lot of people are not going back to physical offices. They're not going back to commercial real estate space. That's actually going to be a massive opportunity as the cities are rebuilt, transportation lines are reconstructed, and we see the continued demographic move of populations around the country and around the world. So things I've been keeping my eye on as we close out today, because we're about to hit the 30-minute mark, is privacy coins. I've had a close eye on tokens like Dash, Zcash, Monero, and others, and just kind of weighing in, checking in on their performance. I do think that there is a sense and will be an eventual move to privacy-based technologies as we see the regulatory framework roll out. And so I think those could be areas of opportunities. I've actually discussed this at school. Even virtual private networks, like I'm an investor in Orchid Protocol, for example, OXT, which I believe is seriously undervalued, which is an app you can download on your phone right now. I encourage you to try it, and using the OXT token and its divisible equivalent, the Kiki. For those of you who don't know what the Kiki is, Kiki means children or child, kind of like Bitcoin is divisible into Satoshis down to fractions. The OXT token is divisible down to a single Kiki, which kind of just a coincidence, actually, that I'm out here in Maui, and I just happen to like OXT and the Orchid Protocol virtual private network, VPN, so much, because I care about privacy. I care about anonymity, and I care about my ability to control my own information, to either put out as much publicly that I want to, or keep as much as I want private as I surf the internet and text messages, friends, and those kinds of things. Also, too, we've had other applications, which some of you might be experimenting with now. Elon Musk, for example, recommending the Signal app. Jack Dorsey recommending the Signal app recently as an alternative to other applications like WhatsApp for private groups and communication. But I have to admit, I'm liking this Clubhouse app. I think this is pretty cool. Welcome, Brandon, to the program here. Maybe I'll try to go to someone here to invite to speak. Brandon, maybe you'd like to come on. I'm going to invite you right now and see if that works. And if not, I'll invite another one of you. See how this works, since I've never done this before.
What's up, Christopher?
Hey, Brandon, how you doing, man? Where are you from? Give me your background and, just a little insight on your bio.
Well, I was actually invited by Guillermo, who's also in the group here today. And we've known each other for quite some time in the crypto game. So, but I'm actually home based in Des Moines, Iowa, and I've been on vacation for the last 3.5 weeks in Marco Island, Florida, near Naples.
Cool. How's that? How are you liking Florida?
Oh, beautiful. I bought a one-way ticket, so I don't want to return back to the tundra that we got back in Des Moines, Iowa.
Awesome. Well, I like your style. Well, I had a one-way ticket out here to Maui as well, so I'll be out here for a while. I love the sun and the water. I love Florida too. Florida's a great state.
Yeah. I do love the white sandy beaches here on the southwestern Florida Gulf. It's pretty beautiful.
Absolutely. Well, so tell me, what are you watching right now? Are you eyeing in on the crypto space? Are there technologies that you're following, or you can ask? Yeah.
So honestly, I'm just kind of in here soaking up knowledge. Pretty green as far as an investor in cryptocurrency goes. I have been involved in the last 2 years or so, but I probably, as far as my holdings, I'm about 2/3 heavy in Ethereum and the other third in Bitcoin, and just trying to learn as much about blockchain, because I definitely do know that the blockchain is going to change so many things, even outside of just currencies, in the coming future, and I definitely want to be a part of that, no matter how it affects society.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've always viewed it as a launch pad to things that we don't even know about yet, right? Which I think is the big takeaway. Just like social media 12 years ago has led to various business opportunities that I couldn't have imagined when I started, it's the same with the blockchain space. And it sounds like you're pretty heavy in Ethereum. Many of my friends are. I own Ethereum myself, and obviously we've had a very exciting upgrade recently, which is a very laborious, difficult upgrade, moving to a staking model, and taking basically their systems to the 2.0 equivalent version from proof of work. You said you're kind of new. Do you have any insight or thoughts like on Ethereum and its blockchain, and why you think it's interesting to you, or ways it could be potentially used?
Maybe I don't have any insights or I guess something to add a value to it, but I do have some questions. Maybe
Okay.
if you could maybe explain the difference of the proof of work versus proof of stake type of thing. That's something I don't have a whole lot of knowledge on.
Okay, yeah, so proof of work is in the case of, from a very basic fundamental level, if we look at Bitcoin, for example, that's a proof of work blockchain, which means each transaction has to be confirmed on a public ledger, which people can review, open source, online. So if I send you $10 worth of Bitcoin, or I send you a full Bitcoin, it will be basically transparent, using that accounting system. And computers, as they're mining those transactions, are in a competition to win that event. And so whatever computer around the world that's most efficient to approve that transaction earns a mining reward. And so it's basically working as is a proof of work technology to confirm just simply a transaction. Now, there are pros and cons to proof of work because it takes computers all around the world. It takes a lot of energy, which is one of the criticisms of Bitcoin, and something that people have been trying to kind of operate around and create various off-chain solutions, like Lightning Network that you've probably heard of, to make that a more efficient process as we scale. So there's this huge question of like scalability with blockchain, and is that going to be a healthy event as things get larger, as we go from $1 trillion in market cap to 10 trillion to who knows how big this can get, versus proof of stake. There's many cryptos that operate on a proof of stake network, so to speak, or blockchain. Ethereum, which used to be proof of work, okay, which there's some differences to Bitcoin, obviously, but has now moved to a staking model. So they basically, the way I understand it, and I'm not a programmer, but they had to upgrade this entire clunky system and move to a model where you can now stake Ethereum, okay, and you can earn yield by staking those tokens. So, for example, I've been teaching about Tezos, XTZ, for years, another investment that I've owned, and it's done pretty well, where you can basically hold, $50,000 worth of Tezos and earn a 6% staking yield, which comes to your account, every single, basically on a daily basis, and is distributed, whether or not you have private custody of the asset, like on a Ledger Nano S or a Trezor, or if you're holding it in an exchange at Coinbase. You'll notice if you own Tezos, they pay you staking rewards. So that's a very non-complicated, kind of like basic definition. There could be a much more serious deep dive. I have a friend who I want to bring on who's a local out here in Maui, kind of a recent transplant, who is basically kind of a professional in cybersecurity and these kinds of things. But I was actually thinking of having him on to show us how he's staking ETH. Because he's like, I notice people get really dogmatic one way or another. They're like, oh no, like it's Bitcoin or nothing, right? The maximalism syndrome, or it's Ethereum or nothing. Now, yes, there's going to be clear winners and losers, just like with the tech boom and then bust, right? Apple, Google, Microsoft still emerged, right, as like the huge winners of the space. That'll probably happen to a certain extent in crypto as well. But I've personally always kind of viewed myself more agnostic in the respect where I just think you build an asset allocation, you bet big. This is what I've done for myself on the big blockchains. And then you invest in some of the other ones that you believe in, that you think have good use cases that might provide even more potential alpha in the future. As some of these small tokens under 100 million market cap go up 10, 100,000x from here. A lot.
Makes sense.
Makes sense. Yeah. So I don't know if that answered the question, or if you have a follow-up question to that, or.
No, not at all. That actually does give me a real good basis of how that kind of works compared to the blockchain of Bitcoin. Because that was my, really the depth of my understanding is how the blockchain for Bitcoin works. But outside of that, I don't have much knowledge.
Yeah. So one thing I could add to that, this is a funny term, but I don't know if you've heard of sharding.
No, of course.
So like sharding with the Ethereum network, the way I think of it is, for example, because Bitcoin's a proof of work system, it's taking up all this energy, which is one of its criticisms. And Ethereum's trying to move to this new efficient 2.0 proof of stake model. Sharding is basically like the main chain of Ethereum is like a hairbrush, right? So you've got like the main transactions rolling through the main vessel, so to speak, of the hairbrush. And then the shards of the brush that you run through your hair are basically all these little kind of estuaries, or I'm trying to think of a better word for it, that kind of branch off the main root of it, and is just hopefully going to create more efficiencies on that network. And again, they've tried to develop alternatives to this even with Bitcoin, a proof of work technology. But again, I guess the takeaway is there's various different blockchains that serve different use cases and do things better than others. Bitcoin, just like I teach my son who's 6, it's digital gold. It's a store of value. It's disinflationary. They're never making any more of it. And there's different use cases for different tech. So I view it much more from that perspective. Just like there's small altcoins that might just operate and do really well in like a microeconomy. Whether or not that's maybe a project I'll build in the future, or it's like Orchid, which is a good example. It's just a VPN. It's a microeconomy that uses OXT, which allows you to stake it with nano payments, so you can surf the internet with an app on your phone, which is all you do is install it and press go, and it basically protects your privacy. So there's like microeconomy coins, tokens, and tech like that as well.
That's very cool.
Well, cool, brother. Well, I'm going to end it here today. This is kind of our first rendezvous with Clubhouse, but thank you so much for your input and joining us. Please tell your friends, and if I need to send any invite links, I want to get this group up and running where we should at least get a few thousand here, I think, over the next couple of days. And my goal for it is for it to be a learning community where we can go over daily news, opportunities, motivation, success, failure points, and just grow really all of our platforms this year into 2021. So thank you, brother.
Yeah, thank you for your time, man. I really look forward to more of what you have to offer. It was really great to sit in and hear what you had to say today. Thank you.
God bless. Well, thank you so much, and talk to you soon. All right, guys, so that's it today. I'll learn a little bit more about this app. Thanks to Brandon for joining us, all of you tuning in here on YouTube and around the world. To learn more, visit us at school at bitcoinrich.com. We still do have a promo code for the New Year's. If you want to learn more about these skills, more about this technology, how all of this works and is being applied into your real life, how to potentially grow cash flows, create income, and just basically better yourself for, I believe, your family and your friends, so that you build the world that you actually like and enjoy. That's really where I think we create the real change. Anyways, I love you guys so much. Thank and growbitcoinrich.com. I'm Christopher Green. Click those links, and I'll see you at school.